Hello and welcome to Girl Killer. On this episode, we will be discussing 3 disturbing cases of women who killed their stepchildren. Starting with number 3, Misty Stoddard. On December 2012, Melissa Stoddard died from suffocation after being tied down to a plank with her mouth duct taped and gagged. She was gagged so tightly she became brain dead. Melissa had just moved in with her father, Ken Stoddard, and stepmother, Misty Stoddard, 5 months prior. She previously lived with her mother in North Carolina and her 13-year-old brother, who is also autistic. Her brother was found molesting Melissa, and the siblings could no longer live together. Melissa's mother, Leisha Stoddard, sent the girl to live with her father in Florida, a move that would change their lives forever. The new home was already busy and full with 5 children, Ken and Misty, who was pregnant again when Melissa joined the family. An already burdened Misty would often talk about how hard it was to care for an autistic child who hurt herself and others around her, especially because she was not her own child. She was also worried about how Melissa would act around the newborn baby. During court, the defense argued Melissa would have fits and hurt herself, the children, and especially her stepmother. She would hurt herself so much that she had to wear a helmet and was tied down to the plank twice, according to the defense, the last time resulting in her death, though the blame has been put back and forth between Misty and Ken by the two turning against each other during trial. Melissa's teachers, however, had said they did not witness the child hurt herself, but rather be a happy child who loved to laugh and help out. She would have fits of anger, which was typical of an autistic child, but would normally return to being her sweet self. The plank in question was said to be used for sexual bondage acts for Ken to use on Misty rather than a torture device for Melissa. During trial, Misty said she was forced to have sex with Ken on more than one occasion on that plank. DNA from Ken, Misty, and Melissa were found on the plank. Misty's 16-year-old son also testified that Melissa would be tied down nightly to the plank by both Ken and Misty with a sock in her mouth as a gag and duct tape around her head. A woman Misty shared a cell with testified Misty told her she placed the duct tape on Melissa the night she died, contrary to what Melissa said happened that night. Melissa's autopsy report states she showed signs of chronic abuse and had multiple lacerations, bruises, and a scab on her back, likely caused by trying to break free from the plank. She also had scarring on her lips and ribs at the hinges, consistent with being gagged. Misty was found guilty of first-degree murder and aggravated child abuse and received life plus 30 years. Ken, who was tried separately, was found guilty of aggravated manslaughter, aggravated child abuse, and tampering with evidence and received 65 years in prison. Number 2. Molly Jane Rowe. The lives of the Rowe family and the Murley family would forever change on June 7, 2011, when 17-month-old Malia Marie Avalon was found unresponsive by her father, Philip P.J. Murley. Little Malia was under the care of her soon-to-be stepmother, 24-year-old Molly Jane Rowe, who was engaged to PJ and a mother herself to a 2-year-old son from a previous relationship. Molly and her son had just moved back into the home she shared with her then-fiancé PJ in Bells, Tennessee, only 2 weeks before the incident occurred. Molly did not give an explanation as to Malia's unresponsive state, simply saying she did not know what happened. Once at the hospital, having undergone numerous tests and examinations, the family was told Malia had severe head trauma akin to that of a car accident. She also presented with bruising to the vagina, right hip, left stomach area, and a bite mark to her back. The father was not believed to be involved in the assault, and Malia's mother, Crystal Gilbert, who had primary custody of the child, was also cleared by police. The obvious suspect was Molly, who was the last to be with the little girl. Molly was arrested and charged with aggravated child abuse and aggravated rape of a child. Days later, when Malia died, the charge was changed to first-degree murder. Molly was pretty tight-lipped and didn't say much, but according to the Jackson Sun and court documents, the child had suffered the injuries after Molly threw her, causing her to hit her head. As for the motive, it was said it could have been a reaction to a fight the couple had had recently. Later, PJ updated his relationship status on Facebook to single, and when asked why, he said, "'Cause she killed my daughter and the police got her and she is going down for murder." In 2013, the day before Malia's murder trial was set to start, Molly pled guilty to first-degree murder. She received life with parole. She must serve 51 years until she's eligible for parole. People are divided with the outcome of this case, with some thinking the plea deal was a cop-out from explaining what she did and why, but others feel satisfied she will spend the rest of her natural life in jail. Number 1. Renee King. On November 12, 2010, 2-year-old Lily Furneaux Wolfenbarger was taken to Mount Clemens Regional Medical Center, where she would die 8 days later from head trauma caused by her stepmother, 28-year-old Renee King, who was watching the toddler while her father was at work. Renee, who is a mother herself to 3 children from previous relationships, was married to Jeffrey Wolfenbarger, the father of Lily. He had joint custody of the toddler with her biological mother, Lauren Furneaux, and the two were going through a difficult custody battle over the toddler. Upon further examination of the 2-year-old, medical personnel found tears to her vagina and anus, and she was bleeding from her vagina in addition to the head trauma. Lily was also unresponsive and had trouble breathing. Renee told authorities she accidentally dropped the toddler in the shower twice as explanation for the head injuries, claiming it was her bad back that caused her to drop the toddler, but denied having anything to do with her genital injuries. She later changed her story, saying the toddler suffered the injuries by falling on the shower ledge, bathtub, or faucet. 8 days later, when Lily died, Renee was arrested and charged with felony murder, first-degree child abuse, and first-degree criminal sexual conduct penetrating with injuries involving a child below the age of 13. During the trial, the prosecution argued Lily was killed simply for acting like a toddler who had a temper tantrum and had soiled herself, causing Renee to act out in retaliation. It was also said Renee and Jeffrey had had a fight 2 weeks prior to the killing as a possible motive. Lily's autopsy showed 20 injuries to the child's head that were consistent with having it slammed into the floor over and over again, the same trauma someone would experience in a car crash. The injuries to the genital area were similar to the trauma experienced by a woman when giving birth. Renee was found guilty and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole for her crimes. During her sentencing, Lauren Furneaux told Renee, "I get to have more children someday and you don't." Jeffrey also addressed his now ex-wife, saying, "You have destroyed so many lives. Your selfish actions are unthinkable, disturbing, and to say the least, sick." That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to your favorite girl killer. Bye!